Well, hey, man, it's
Oh,
great to meet you. Thank you for taking a minute after the program today. I appreciate it.
yeah, sure thing.
So, I always begin my conversation before we get into your work is 6 years ago, this pandemic was changing our lives, doing so much to change business and the way we lived. How did you get through that era, and how has it changed the way that you proceed today?
Yeah. So that was obviously a very pivotal time for the entire, for the entire nation. And at that point in time, I was actually not involved in my current business, which is Stern Gutters, Stern Roofing. I was in the midst of serving as a CFO for a privately held company that had manufacturing footprint in Los Angeles, in Puerto Rico, and in here in the East Coast in New Jersey. And I was spending a lot of time traveling, cross country, so to say, just to keep up with that organization. It obviously introduced a lot of challenges, and it also led me to rethink how a company can be built virtually. And that's sort of the probably the bigger takeaways from that entire experience is that even though some elements of our business, like replacing gutters or replacing roofs, cannot be taken virtually. A lot of the elements like communication and transparency and staying in front of the customers or being responsive to the customers' queries, that can be done, with a lot of remote capabilities. We are sort of central to New Jersey company. We have operations here in New Jersey. But we have a warehouse facility in East Hanover area of New Jersey. But at the same time, we service almost the entire northern and central footprint of the state of New Jersey. And this capability of relying on technology, staying in contact via cell phone or the apps is something that we absolutely leverage. And I think one of the legacies of the COVID was, this whole notion of like, we can be old school or old style, contractor type company, but at the same time, we're going to go and leverage as much of the modern communications technology as we can.
So let's synthesize what you do as a businessman, a coach, an author. I'm going to put you in front of a bunch of 12-year-olds. It's career day. And one of the
Yeah,
kids wants to know what you do for a living. How do you
we do
convince?
gutters.
Okay, there you
Yeah,
go.
it's like this is the simplest way to think about it. And I have two 10-year-olds and one 7-year-olds. And if they're asked what your dad does, it's like he owns a gutter company. And what we do with the gutters is we repair, replace them, and more often than not, the most asked for service is clean. Make sure that my gutters are able of handling the rain that comes along our way. So that's kind of the synthesis of it.
So give me an idea of what you wanted to be when you were 12 years old. What was your dream job?
You know, uh, Looking back, I can't really pinpoint a specific, a career path that I wanted to follow. I had this vague idea that I wanted to be a businessman. I had this aspiration, and just going back, as my name betrays, I grew up in Russia, in not like in Moscow, the capital cities, in the middle of Urals, which is we have Arctic to the north. We have deserts of Kazakhstan in the south, to the south, and a lot of woods and taiga type forest in sort of in the middle. So, but I had this aspiration that I wanted to be a businessman. I wanted to, own operations, various operations, and I wanted to do this in the United States. So, being blessed, the parents were somewhat successful. We figured out the way to do the exchange program, and I ended up graduating from high school here in the United States. And as I was progressing through all those years, I literally was like, all right, I'm going to go get a college degree from a business program. And I went to Babson, which is one of the greatest entrepreneurial programs, in the United States. And then I transitioned over to to the Wall Street, which is obviously what else can be emblematic of the being in business is probably Wall Street, right? Unless you are just like, own a manufacturing plant somewhere and literally running the manufacturing facility. So, and through these experiences, I kind of came to observe a lot of businesses and helping raise capital for the businesses and helping, sell businesses. And as I was growing and mature through my career, helping others do this became starting to do it on my own. And that's how Stern came about, is that as I was wrapping up some of this consulting engagements, being the CFO of private companies, I was just figuring out what else I want to do with my life. And here I am, several years later, owning and running daily operations of a gutter contractor. So kind of a long way of traveling from in the middle of nowhere in Russia to here in New Jersey, running a gutter company.
So, was it always your dream to come to America?
I always had the aspiration of doing so. Yes, it's I grew up in the '80s. We had a lot of those bootlegged movies, and those big VHS videotapes, and I always had this aspiration of coming to the country. I came for the very first time in 1993 and spent several weeks in Seattle and Washington area, and it was very transformational experience for me. And after that summer visit, I just became much more committed to, do kind of jump with both feet. And that's how the exchange program, student exchange program, came into being. And then one thing led to another. So,
So, what was the transition into the country like? Getting in from Russia to America, was there a big learning curve? Was there a big
oh goodness.
transition?
Oh, it was a great culture shock. So many years later, I remember this vividly. As much as I was taking English back then, my English was still not proficient, so there was a lot of linguistic barriers in place. The culture is obviously in itself very different, how one relates to the family members and friends. Um, so a lot of that transition sort of led to moments of uneasiness and perhaps homesickness. And for the first, semester in, living at the school where I was attending, the high school, it was just kind of all about sort of doing studying, not having a lot of fun. But slowly I kind of acquired some friends and started engaging in social activities and you know how it goes. College can be a very fun experience. A lot of folks remember that with fondness, and how this is how it was for me. But for the first 6 months, the transition was somewhat challenging, and the cultural as well as the linguistic differences were very palpable.
So, who's been your inspirational force? Who's been kind of a hero in your life to allow you to evolve to this point in your business world?
Excellent question. And I want to say there was probably not a single person that that was throughout the career that kind of I will always followed. But as I was sort of evolving through, and grew up, if you will, several characters that I ended up following. I want to say Warren Buffett has been a profound influence on sort of how I think about businesses and. I am very much, I studied a lot of his writings, his letters to the shareholders. They have a lot of, I think, wisdom in terms of how to approach evaluating the businesses, how to approach, recruiting people, how to motivate people. Charlie Munger, which is obviously his partner, has been a source of wisdom for me as well. So these two gentlemen were, probably one of the most influential people who I followed, and it was truly, it was truly, um, uh, truly kind of life altering to actually visit the shareholder meeting at in Nebraska, where Warren Buffett lives, and just observe how much these two gentlemen had the influence on the entire economy of the United States. For what it's worth, I was traveling from east, obviously New York, New Jersey area, landed in Kansas City, and drove over to to Nebraska to attend the shareholder meeting over there. So traveled through the cornfields.
That's
Uh,
wonderful.
yeah.
So, what is the motivation for you every day when the alarm clock goes off to do this job at a high level, to take care of your own soul, your employees, this operation? What is that energy for you every day?
Um, Let me start answering this by giving you a little bit of history. The idea for starting the contractor in the state of New Jersey that's going to do something different came from a truly personal pain point. Uh, while I was still working as a CFO, I once had an issue with with the gutter, and I literally ended up calling probably 12, 13, or 14 contractors who I wanted to come out, take a look, give me an estimate, and just repair the damn leaking gutter. And so, out of this dozen or so contractors, three made an appointments, only two showed up, and one of those who showed up wanted to sell me the entire roof, so didn't want to take a look at my gutter at all. And the other gentleman who showed up, he was actually very professional, even though, I could tell he was probably one of the smaller operators because he carried all his equipments on his own truck. But he put up the ladder, he went on the roof, he looked at the gutters, and pretty much, he said, yep, that gutter needs to be replaced. He wrote an estimate on a sheet of paper, handed this over to me, and that was the last time I heard from him. And I didn't even could not even locate later on his contact information to actually complete the repair. So to me, this was an indication that something is broken in the entire ecosystem of how the home services is being conducted, well, at least locally here in the state of New Jersey. And my vision was, all right, let's first of all address what the homeowner needs, right? Don't go from what me as a contractor required, but what the homeowner needs. And then let's put some technology in place to make some elements of the follow-up and the communication to be a little bit more transparent, easier, kind of execute and be consistent around this. And then I also wanted to sort of add some additional values around that. And that is, kind of bring some integrity to this business. And, based on kind of hearsay, I gathered that there are a lot of not super reliable contractors out there. And I certainly wanted to make a difference in this element of running the business. So integrity is a big part of it. And we come to every job offering some form of a warranty on our workmanship, and we stand by it. So these are the elements that I kind of wanted to emphasize. And a couple of years into this, I still am driven by it. And when the alarm clock goes off at 4:30 in the morning, you know, um, that's kind of what gets me going. And however cheesy this may sound, the true motivation kicks in not necessarily at 4:30 every day, but when you actually hear thank yous and gratitudes from the people who you really helped solve the problem, did so timely, did not overcharge them, and they just go out of the way to be grateful to addressing the issues that they had problems with.
So let's say you had a dream tonight. You ran into that young version of you before you came to America, and you had like a coffee table book of the life that you've lived since you've been here, everything you've done and evolved to. Would that young version of you believe that this life happened?
Probably not, because ironically, 20 years ago, even when I was going onto the Wall Street, I had a very different vision of how, of what I want to be when I grow up. It's uh, some elements of it, though, I think would probably be observable. But earlier, when in this conversation, you asked me a question as a 12-year-old. What was the sort of the vision? And it's almost like I want to do business, and that's as generic as that sounds. But I found myself thinking that my career was all about career changes. Ironically, it's just like being a Wall Street banker, then investor, then an executive for private companies, and now the business owner operator. So it's kind of been very holistic. And going back 20 or even 30 years, I probably could not have predicted what this career change and path is going to evolve into. And I have no idea where I'm going to be 5 or 7 years down the road, but probably I suspect there are going to be some career change, change in my horizon as well.
So let's say you did sit down with Warren Buffett. What would you want to ask him? What would you want to know?
Ooh, that's a challenging one. I want to I would love to hear his opinion. And by the way, I heard obviously heard Warren Buffett speak live, and
Yeah.
he is terrific. He is very quick on his feet, and it's amazing the amount of wisdom that comes out of that conversation. But to me, the interesting aspect has always been um, like the age of actually being involved in the operations, right? Just kind of running day to day. And from everything that I gather around Warren about Warren Buffett, he is more about taking this holistic, cerebral view of the business, acquiring it, and staying out of it, not getting involved in the day operations. I would like to know why, and then the second thing is I'd love to get his sort of secret formula of how he goes about evaluating people that are within the current sort of businesses that he acquires and how he sort of makes the leap of trusting that whatever they have done in the past is going to be translatable into consistent patterns of behavior and profitability going forward. So a lot of what he does, in my opinion, he does on faith. But this faith is probably based in some heuristics or some form of patterns that he observed in people. And I'd love to pick on those elements because let's face it, every single business, with probably minor exceptions, and we're going to have more of those exceptions going forward with AI. It's all about people. And it's very important to get the right people in the bus and keep the wrong people off the bus.
So at the end of the day, when you look back on your career and your timeline, what are you ultimately the proudest of?
I almost want to say I don't want to answer this question
Right.
because there is so much that I want to be proud of, while building this business that I'm currently involved in, Stern Exterior, Stern Gutters, Stern Roofing. I can't really say that the accomplishments and the milestones of 5 or 7 years down the road is something that I continue to be, walking around and advertising. Look, this is what I've done 5 or 7 years ago. The life moved fast, and it's almost like, what have I done lately that kind of keeps my ambitions going. So I know I'm not answering your question, but I think what kind of really truly drives me and what motivates me to continue at it is not necessarily what was done several years back, but what is potentially ahead of me and how I can go about getting it. I mean, look, I can list a bunch of accolades. I did a lot of first in my family. The transition from Russia to the States was great. I did very well, graduated top of my class from my high school, did very well in college academically, did well in business school. So a lot of those things, like I can probably talk and list to. I don't think this is something that, however, I'm like super proud of. It's like, I have an exit on Nasdaq. Ended up working on a company that we ended up listing on Nasdaq. I sold businesses. Again, this is just like I probably can have a good story about it, but like this is not what keeps me warm and fuzzy when I'm again getting up at 4:30 in the morning
Yep.
to drive this business. It's the next thing that I want to hit.
I dig
I
it.
know, you know what I mean?
Yep, totally get it. So let me ask you this. Everyone has a perception of you, family, friends, clients, everyone that works for you, but you run the show. What's your
Yeah.
perception of you? Who do you think you are?
Um, I, I, I'm going to answer this question a little bit differently, not directly, but I want to answer it in the angle of like how I want people to perceive me. And what I want people to gather for me is that they're going to come to expect or get what I say I'm going to do, right? So integrity is an important aspect of, of what I want to be perceived like and I want this business to be perceived like. Trust is huge. I want the people to come to us to solution and or come to me to solution. And more often than not, I find myself coming up with creative, right now, construction related solutions than probably the vast majority of professionals out there, out here in New Jersey. I'm proud of that. Um, I want, I'm thinking of myself as like the buck stops with me, and I want everyone, quite frankly, within the company, within Stern, to actually have the same attitude about daily activities. I want to be perceived as highly professional, uh, jokingly, but I very often describe that Stern Gutters, Stern Roofing is about white collar profession execution in the blue collar world. So white glove delivery in the blue collar profession. And last but not least, I want to be perceived as that um, we're doing this business not purely for the economic reasons or for pure profit driven considerations. We are doing something good. We're solving problems. We are addressing everyday needs of the community that we serve. Part of the community, a big chunk, is the clients, the customers. But there is also the part of this that involved being a part of Essex County and the smaller township of South Orange and Maplewood, where we're located, and being good citizens within this community is important to me personally. And I want to believe that people, when they perceive us or perceive me, would have the faith that if I need to go out and potentially forego some of the profit making considerations in order to make it better for the community, I will totally go down that path. And this is certainly the service element of this business is something that I am working very hard to instill into the employees that I recruit.
So perfect lead in, Stern Gutters. If anybody wants to dive in, make a call, reach out, hire any of the good business questions, where do they go?
We are on the web, like sternguttersnj.com. A lot of folks can find us on social media, Stern Gutters NJ handle for Instagram, for Facebook. They can always call our office line, 973-298-0767. And our team will find a way to get in touch with me, and I will touch base back. And yeah, folks also can email me at Alex at Stern Gutters or sternguttersnj.com. Both of those emails going to work. So that's how people can get in touch with me.
I love it. Alex, so good to meet you, sir. Thank you for your story. Thank you for your time. Best of luck with everything. I appreciate it.
Joe, it's been terrific. Thanks very much for having me. And I look forward to perhaps giving you a call once I'm back to Kansas City. Love that barbecue.
That would be wonderful. Absolutely. I would love it.